Hello, and welcome to English in Fluency. My name is Alex, and I am so glad you have chosen to spend your time with me today. Have you ever felt like you were standing at the bottom of a huge mountain, looking up at a peak that seemed completely impossible to reach? Maybe this mountain is a new job, a difficult exam, learning a new skill, or even just trying to be a happier person. You look up, and the path is steep, rocky, and disappears into the clouds. A little voice in your head might whisper, "You can't do that. It's too hard. You're not strong enough." What if I told you that the mountain isn't the real obstacle? What if the real mountain, the one that truly holds you back, is inside your own mind? Today, we are going on a journey together. It's a story about learning to be a climber, not of mountains made of rock and ice, but of the challenges within ourselves. We will explore how to train your mind, not just to face difficult situations, but to win in them. This isn't about magic or some secret trick. It's about understanding the incredible power you already have inside you and learning how to use it. So find a comfortable place, relax, and let's begin this journey to train your mind to win in every situation. Let me introduce you to someone. His name is Samuel. Samuel is a software developer. He is very good at his job, but he feels stuck. Imagine him now, sitting in his small apartment. The city outside his window is loud and full of life, with cars honking and people rushing by. But inside Samuel's apartment, it is quiet. The only sound is the soft hum of his computer and the gentle tap, tap, tap of rain against the glass. Samuel is staring at his computer screen, but he isn't really seeing the lines of code. He is seeing a mountain. This mountain is a new project at work. It's a very important project, a chance for him to get a promotion, to finally move forward in his career. But the project is big and complicated, bigger than anything he has ever worked on before. He feels a familiar, heavy feeling in his stomach, a cold knot of fear. The voice in his head is loud today. It says, "You are going to fail. Everyone will see that you are not as smart as they think you are. You should just tell your boss you can't do it." This voice was a constant companion for Samuel. It was the narrator of his life, and it always told a story of doubt and failure. He sighs, running a hand through his hair, and looks at the project plan again. It looks like a foreign language. He feels completely and utterly overwhelmed. The word overwhelmed is a very useful word in English. It means to have a feeling of being completely covered or buried by something, like having too much work or too many problems. It's like a giant wave crashing over you. Have you ever felt overwhelmed? Think about a time you felt this way. What did you do? Samuel's reaction was always the same. He would procrastinate. That's another great word. To procrastinate means to delay or put off doing something that you should be doing, usually because it is unpleasant or difficult. So instead of working, Samuel opens a new tab on his browser and starts scrolling through social media, trying to escape the feeling, trying to silence the voice. Now, let me introduce you to another person. Her name is Clara. Clara is a musician. She has a voice that is as clear and beautiful as a forest stream. When she sings alone in her room, with her guitar resting on her lap, she can create magic. The melodies flow from her effortlessly, and the words paint pictures in the air. Her dream is to share this music with the world. She wants to stand on a stage, under the warm lights, and see people's faces as they listen to her songs. But Clara has her own mountain. Her mountain is the stage itself. The thought of standing in front of an audience, even a small one, fills her with a terror so intense it feels like a physical illness. Her heart starts to beat like a drum, her hands get cold and sweaty, and her beautiful voice gets trapped in her throat. She has tried before. A few months ago, she was supposed to perform at a small local cafe. She practiced for weeks. She knew the songs perfectly. But when she stood backstage, hearing the quiet murmur of the audience, her courage vanished. It simply disappeared, like smoke in the wind. She couldn't do it. She turned around, walked out the back door, and went home, feeling a profound sense of shame. The word profound means very great or intense. So her shame wasn't a small feeling. It was deep and powerful. Now, she watches videos of other musicians online, her heart aching with a mixture of admiration and sadness. The voice in her head whispers to her too. It says, "You are not a real musician. Real musicians are brave. You are a coward. You should just keep your music to yourself, where it's safe." So Clara keeps her magic locked away in her room, her dream gathering dust in the corner like her old guitar case. Samuel and Clara are strangers, living in the same big city, but they share the same secret struggle. They are both trapped at the bottom of their own personal mountains, listening to the same discouraging voices in their heads, believing that they are not strong enough to climb. One rainy Tuesday afternoon, Samuel decides he needs to get out of his apartment. The feeling of being overwhelmed has become a heavy blanket he can't shake off. He walks without any real destination, his head down, the collar of his jacket pulled up against the cold drizzle. He finds himself in a part of the city he has never seen before, full of narrow streets and old brick buildings. He wanders into a small, quiet bookstore. The air inside smells of old paper and leather, a comforting and peaceful scent. He runs his fingers along the spines of the books, not really looking for anything in particular. Then, a book with a simple dark blue cover catches his eye. It has no pictures, only a title in plain gold letters: The Architect of Your Mind. He picks it up. It feels heavy and important in his hands. He opens it to a random page and reads a sentence. The words you say to yourself are the blueprints for the person you become. The sentence feels like a small spark in the darkness of his mind. A blueprint is a design or a plan for something. So the sentence means that your thoughts design your life. He buys the book, feeling a strange sense of hope he hasn't felt in a long time. At the same time, across the city, Clara is doing something similar. She is tired of the silence of her room, tired of the voice of her own fear. She goes for a walk in a large park. She loves this park, with its ancient trees and winding paths. She finds a quiet bench near a small pond and sits down. An elderly man is sitting at the other end of the bench, sketching in a notebook. He has kind eyes and a gentle smile. After a few minutes of silence, he looks at her and says, "A beautiful day, isn't it? Even with the clouds." Clara is surprised, but manages a small smile. "Yes, it is," she replies. They start talking. His name is Mr. Albert, and he is a retired music teacher. Clara, feeling an unusual sense of trust, finds herself telling him about her music, and then, hesitantly, about her fear. She expects him to be sympathetic, but maybe a little dismissive, to tell her to just be brave. But he listens patiently, his head tilted to one side. When she finishes, he doesn't say, "Be brave." Instead, he says something that surprises her. "Fear is not a wall," he says softly. "It is a staircase." You just need to learn how to climb it one step at a time. He explains that you don't conquer a great fear all at once. You break it down into tiny, manageable pieces. He calls it the one-step method. You don't think about singing on a big stage. You think only about the very next step. Just one. Perhaps that one step is just singing a song for one person, or maybe even smaller. Maybe it's just recording your voice and listening back to it. The goal is not to stop being afraid, Mr. Albert says, his voice calm and reassuring. The goal is to act, even when you are afraid. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the mastery of it. Samuel goes home and starts to read the book, The Architect of Your Mind. It talks about the concept of the internal narrator, or the inner voice. It explains that this voice is not necessarily telling the truth. It's just a collection of old habits, old fears, and things we have heard from other people. The book says the first step to changing your life is to simply become aware of this voice, to listen to it, not as a commander, but as a radio station that you can choose to change. The book suggests an exercise. For one whole day, write down every negative thought that comes into your head. Samuel decides to try it. The next day, he keeps a small notebook with him. At first, it's difficult. The thoughts are so quick and automatic, he barely notices them. But he persists. Persists means to continue doing something even though it is difficult. By the end of the day, he is shocked. His notebook is full. Thoughts like, "This code is too difficult. I can't figure it out. My boss probably thinks I'm slow. I made a mistake. I am so stupid. I'll never get that promotion." He realizes that his mind is a constant stream of negativity. He has been living under a rain cloud of his own making without even realizing it. The book explains that these are just thoughts, not facts. A thought is just a collection of words in your head. It has no power unless you give it power. The next step, the book says, is to question these thoughts. When the thought, "I can't figure this out," appears, you must challenge it. Is it really true that I can't figure it out? Or is it just that I haven't figured it out yet? Is there another way to look at this? Maybe it's not that I'm stupid. Maybe it's that this is a genuinely difficult problem that requires more time and focus. The book suggests a powerful technique to replace the negative thought with a more realistic and positive one. So instead of, "I can't do this," Samuel starts to practice saying to himself, "This is challenging, but I can learn how to do it. I will take it one step at a time." It feels strange at first, like he is lying to himself. The negative voice is strong and familiar, like an old, comfortable chair. The new voice is weak and uncertain, but he keeps practicing. Every time he catches a negative thought, he stops. He takes a breath. He questions it. And then he replaces it. It is like learning a new language, the language of self-compassion and encouragement. Self-compassion means being kind and understanding towards yourself, especially when you fail or feel inadequate. It's an important skill for training your mind. Let's practice this for a moment. Think of a negative thought you sometimes have about learning English. Maybe it's, "My pronunciation is terrible," or "I'll never be fluent." Now, let's challenge it. Is it a fact that your pronunciation is terrible? Or are there just some sounds you find difficult? Is it a fact that you'll never be fluent? Or is it just that fluency takes a long time? Now, try to replace it. Instead of, "My pronunciation is terrible," you could say, I am practicing my pronunciation and it is improving every day. Instead of, I'll never be fluent, you could say, every day I practice, I get one step closer to fluency. This simple shift in language can have a huge impact on your motivation and your success. Meanwhile, Clara decides to try Mr. Albert's one-step method. The idea of singing in front of people is still a terrifying mountain. But Mr. Albert's words, "Fear is a staircase," echo in her mind. So what is the very first, tiniest step she can take? She decides it's not even about singing for someone else. The first step is to simply get comfortable with the idea of being heard. She takes her guitar and sits in her living room by the window that faces the street. She opens the window just a little bit, just a crack. She knows people walking by might hear her. Her heart starts to pound. The voice in her head screams, "Close the window!" Someone will hear you. They will think you are awful. She feels the familiar urge to run, to hide. But then she remembers Mr. Albert's advice. The goal is to act even when you are afraid. She takes a deep breath. Her fingers tremble as she places them on the strings of her guitar. She starts to play a simple, quiet melody. Then she begins to sing, her voice barely a whisper. She sings one song, then another. She focuses only on the music, on the feeling of the guitar against her body, on the shape of the words in her mouth. After about 10 minutes, she stops. She is shaking, but she is also filled with a strange feeling. It's a feeling of victory. It was a tiny step, almost invisible to anyone else. But for Clara, it was a huge leap. She had faced her fear just for a moment, and she had survived. She hadn't been judged or laughed at. The world hadn't ended. She had taken the first step on her staircase. The next day, she tries again. This time, she opens the window a little wider. A few days later, she records herself singing a song on her phone. Just listening to her own voice is a challenge. The inner critic is loud, pointing out every tiny imperfection. But she forces herself to listen, not as a judge, but as a kind teacher. She notes things she could improve, but she also forces herself to notice the things she did well. A particularly clear note, a heartfelt line. She is learning to be her own coach, not just her own critic. This process is about breaking down a huge, daunting goal into small, manageable actions. The word daunting means seeming difficult to deal with in anticipation, intimidating. A big goal like perform on stage is daunting, but a small goal like record one song on my phone is manageable. This is a very powerful strategy for any goal, including learning English. Perhaps your goal is to have a long conversation in English. That can feel daunting. But what is the smallest first step? Maybe it's learning 5 new vocabulary words today. Or maybe it's saying good morning to a colleague in English. Or perhaps it's listening to this podcast for just 5 minutes. These small, consistent actions build momentum and confidence. Momentum is the force that keeps an object moving. When you achieve small goals, you build positive momentum that carries you forward toward your bigger goals. What is one small, manageable step you can take today to improve your English? Don't think about the whole mountain. Just think about the next step on the staircase. Back in his apartment, Samuel is continuing his own mental training. The project at work is still there, still big and intimidating. But something inside him is starting to shift. By consciously changing his thoughts, he finds that his feelings are starting to change too. When he replaces the thought, "This is impossible," with I can tackle this one piece at a time. The heavy feeling of being overwhelmed lessens, just a little. He starts to apply the same logic to the project itself. He looks at the huge project plan, and instead of seeing one giant mountain, he forces himself to see a series of small hills. He breaks the entire project down into the smallest possible tasks. Write the first line of code for the login page. Design the database structure for user profiles. Research the best way to handle image uploads. Each task is a small, achievable goal. He creates a list, and every time he completes one, he physically checks it off with a green pen. Each green check mark is a small victory, a piece of evidence to show his doubting mind that he is making progress. He is moving forward. This process helps him stay focused on the present moment, on the one task in front of him, instead of getting lost in worry about the entire project. This is the essence of mindfulness in action. He is not just managing a project, he is managing his own mind. However, the journey is not a straight line. One afternoon, Samuel hits a major problem. A piece of his code is not working, and he cannot figure out why. He spends hours, then a whole day, trying to fix it. He tries everything he can think of, but nothing works. Frustration builds up inside him like pressure in a sealed container, and the old voice, which had been quieter lately, comes back with a vengeance. See? I told you. You can't do this. You are a fraud. Now everyone will know. The feeling of despair is so strong he wants to close his laptop and never open it again. He feels like a complete failure. He almost gives in. He almost sends an email to his boss saying he needs to be taken off the project. But then he remembers a chapter in the book he read, The Architect of Your Mind. The chapter was about failure. It said that most people see failure as an end point, a sign to stop. But successful people see failure differently. They see it as feedback. They see it as a data point. Failure is simply information. It's the world telling you that your current approach is not working, and you need to try a different one. It is not a judgment on your worth as a person. Samuel takes a deep breath. He closes his eyes and says to himself, "This is not the end. This is just a problem. It is information." He decides to stop trying to force a solution. Instead, he gets up from his desk and goes for a walk, just to clear his head. He doesn't think about the code. He just looks at the people, the buildings, the sky. When he comes back an hour later, he feels calmer. He looks at his code again, but this time with a different perspective. He is not looking for his mistake with anger and frustration. He is looking at it with curiosity, like a detective looking at a clue. And then, suddenly, he sees it. A tiny, simple mistake in one line of code. A mistake he had looked at 100 times but had been too stressed and angry to see. He fixes it, runs the program, and it works perfectly. A huge wave of relief washes over him, but it's more than just relief. It's a profound realization. He didn't fail. He just learned one way that didn't work. The experience wasn't a failure. It was part of the process of success. This is a crucial lesson. Crucial means extremely important. When you are learning English, you will make mistakes. You will forget words. You will use the wrong grammar. It is easy to feel like you are failing. But you must train your mind to see these moments not as failures, but as feedback. Every mistake is an opportunity to learn something new. When someone corrects your pronunciation, it's not a criticism. It's valuable information that will help you improve. Embracing failure is one of the most important parts of winning in any situation. Clara is also facing her own challenges. She has been consistently practicing her one-step method. She has progressed from singing with the window open to sending a recording to her friend. Her friend's positive reaction gave her a small boost of confidence. Now, she is ready for the next step, a bigger one. Mr. Albert, her new friend from the park, has arranged for her to sing one song at an open mic night. An open mic night is an event where anyone can come and perform, usually music or comedy. It's a very supportive environment, but for Clara, it feels like Mount Everest. The performance is in 1 week. The old fear comes rushing back, stronger than ever. The voice in her head is screaming, "This is too soon! You are not ready. You are going to freeze again." She feels the familiar panic rising in her chest. She calls Mr. Albert, her voice trembling. He listens patiently, and then he says, "Clara, it is time to build the stage in your mind before you step onto the real one." He introduces her to the technique of visualization. Visualization is the practice of creating a detailed mental image of a future event, seeing it happen exactly as you want it to. It's a technique used by top athletes, musicians, and performers all over the world. Mr. Albert guides her through it. He tells her to find a quiet place where she won't be disturbed. She lies down on her bed and closes her eyes. "First," he says over the phone, "I want you to imagine the cafe. See it in your mind. What does it look like? See the small wooden stage, the microphone stand, the warm, soft lights. See the tables, the people sitting at them, chatting quietly. Smell the coffee brewing. Hear the gentle clink of cups." He asks her to make the image as real and vivid as possible. Vivid means producing powerful feelings or strong, clear images in the mind. The more sensory details you can include, sight, sound, smell, touch, taste, the more powerful the visualization will be. Then, he tells her to see herself walking towards the stage. "Feel the floor under your feet," he says. "You are calm. You are confident. You are breathing slowly and deeply. You are not afraid. You are excited." He asks her to imagine picking up her guitar, feeling its familiar weight. She sees herself smiling at the audience. Then, he tells her to hear herself performing. Hear your voice, clear and strong. Hear the beautiful melody you are playing on the guitar. See the faces in the audience. They are smiling. They are enjoying your music. Feel the emotion of the song as you sing it. He has her play the entire song in her mind, from the first note to the last. Finally, he tells her to imagine the end of the song. "Hear the applause," he says. "It's warm and genuine. Feel the sense of accomplishment, of pride. Feel the joy of sharing your gift." Clara practices this visualization every single day leading up to the performance. Each time, the image becomes clearer, and the feeling of confidence becomes stronger. She is training her brain to believe in her success before it even happens. Her brain is creating new neural pathways, new connections that associate performing with positive feelings, not fear. This is something you can use for your English learning too. Before a presentation or a conversation in English, take a few minutes to visualize it. See yourself speaking clearly and confidently. Imagine the other person understanding you and smiling. Hear yourself using the vocabulary you've learned. Feel the confidence and pride of a successful conversation. By doing this, you are preparing your mind for success. The day of the big project presentation arrives for Samuel. A few months ago, The thought of this day would have paralyzed him with fear. But today, something is different. He still feels nervous. His heart is beating a little faster than usual. But underneath the nervousness, there is a quiet current of confidence. He has spent weeks not just working on the project, but working on his own mind. He has practiced changing his negative thoughts. He has broken down the mountain into small hills and climbed each one. He has learned from his mistakes instead of letting them defeat him. He walks into the conference room. His boss is there, along with the senior managers of the company. He takes his place at the front of the room, sets up his laptop, and takes a deep breath. The old voice is still there, whispering at the edge of his awareness. They are all going to see your mistakes. You are going to forget what to say. But now, he has a new voice, one he has been carefully cultivating. This new voice says, "You have worked hard for this. You know this project better than anyone. You are prepared. You can do this." He chooses to listen to the new voice. He starts his presentation. He speaks clearly and calmly. He explains the complex project in simple, understandable terms. He shows them the final product, how it works, and the problems it solves. Then comes the question and answer session. This is the part he used to fear the most. A senior manager asks him a very difficult question, a technical question that challenges a key part of his design. For a split second, panic flashes through him. The old Samuel would have frozen. He would have mumbled that he didn't know or gotten defensive. But the new Samuel does something different. He pauses. He takes a breath. He looks the manager in the eye and says, "That's an excellent question. My initial approach was designed to prioritize speed, but you're right. There is a potential trade-off in terms of security in that specific scenario. I have considered an alternative solution which would involve..." He calmly and confidently explains a different approach, showing that he has thought deeply about the problem from all angles. He doesn't pretend to be perfect. He shows that he is thoughtful, adaptable, and honest. The managers are impressed, not just by his work, but by his composure and confidence under pressure. When the presentation is over, his boss comes up to him, smiling. "Excellent work, Samuel," she says. "You really knocked it out of the park." This is an idiom, to knock it out of the park. It means to do something exceptionally well. Samuel feels a warmth spread through his chest. It's the feeling of a hard-earned victory. He didn't just win a promotion. He won a battle with himself. He proved to his own doubting mind that he was capable, that he was strong enough to climb the mountain. That very same evening, it is time for Clara's performance. She stands backstage at the cafe. It's a small, cozy place, just as she had visualized. She can hear the murmur of the crowd, the same sound that had sent her running last time. Her heart is pounding. Her hands are cold. The fear is there. It feels like a living thing, a cold snake coiling in her stomach. The voice of doubt is shouting now. "You can't do this! You're going to make a fool of yourself! Go home now while you still can." She feels the powerful pull to escape. But then another image comes into her mind. It's the image she has practiced over and over again. The image of her on stage, calm and confident. The image of the smiling faces. The sound of her own clear voice. She also remembers Mr. Albert's words. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. She takes a deep breath. Then another. She is not trying to fight the fear anymore. She is accepting it. She is allowing it to be there, but she is choosing not to let it control her. She says to herself, "Okay, fear, you can come with me, but you are not driving. I am." The host calls her name. "And now, please give a warm welcome to Clara." She walks out onto the small stage. The lights feel bright and hot. For a moment, the faces in the audience blur together. Her hands tremble as she adjusts the microphone. She can feel her throat tightening. She looks out and sees Mr. Albert sitting at a table near the front, giving her a small, encouraging nod. She takes one more deep breath and begins to play. The first few notes are shaky. Her voice, when she starts to sing, is thin and wavering. The inner critic is screaming, "You sound terrible!" They all hate it, but she doesn't stop. She focuses on the music. She closes her eyes and imagines she is back in her room, singing just for herself. She pours all of her feeling, all of her fear, all of her hope into the song. And then, something amazing happens. As she gets deeper into the song, the shaking stops. Her voice grows stronger, richer. The fear is still there, but it's no longer a roaring monster. It's a quiet hum in the background. The music is in the foreground, bright and powerful. She opens her eyes and really looks at the audience. They are not judging her. They are listening. Some are closing their eyes. Some are smiling gently. They are connected to her through her music. She finishes the song, playing the last soft chord on her guitar. For a moment, there is complete silence. Clara's heart stops. And then, the room erupts in applause. It's not just polite clapping. It's loud, enthusiastic applause. People are cheering. Mr. Albert is beaming. A huge, genuine smile spreads across Clara's face, and tears of joy and relief well up in her eyes. She didn't conquer her fear. She sang with it. She performed alongside it. And in doing so, she had transformed it. She had taken the staircase of fear, one step at a time, and it had led her to this beautiful, triumphant moment. A few months have passed. Let's visit Samuel again. He got the promotion. He is now leading his own team on a new, even bigger project. He still has moments of doubt. The old voice of negativity still visits him sometimes, especially when he is tired or stressed. But it no longer has the same power. He has learned how to be the architect of his own mind. He treats his thoughts like visitors in a house. He acknowledges the negative ones, but he doesn't serve them tea and invite them to stay. He lets them pass through. He chooses to focus on the positive, constructive thoughts. He knows that building a winning mindset is not a one-time event. It's a daily practice, like exercising a muscle. Some days are easier than others, but every day he practices, the muscle gets stronger. He is no longer just a coder. He is the leader of his own inner world. And what about Clara? Her performance at the open mic night was a turning point. It didn't magically erase her stage fright forever, but it proved to her that she could feel the fear and do it anyway. She started performing regularly at the same cafe. Each time it got a little bit easier. The staircase was still there, but she was getting better at climbing it. She even started writing new songs about courage, about facing your fears, about the quiet victories that happen inside your own heart. She learned that winning wasn't about a big, spectacular moment of triumph. Winning was showing up. Winning was opening the window a little wider. Winning was singing the first note, even when her voice was shaking. She is still on her journey, still climbing her staircase, but now she climbs with hope in her heart and music as her guide. She understands that the goal isn't to reach a final destination where there is no more fear. The goal is to keep climbing, to keep growing, and to keep sharing her gift with the world. One beautiful, courageous song at a time. The stories of Samuel and Clara are not just stories. They are a map. They are a guide to training your own mind to win, not just in big presentations or stage performances, but in the small, everyday situations of life. Their journey shows us that the external world is often a reflection of our internal world. The real battles are won or lost in the 6 inches between our ears. So, let's review the key lessons, the tools that Samuel and Clara used to climb their mountains. The first tool is awareness. You must become aware of your own internal narrator, that voice in your head. Listen to what it says. Does it support you, or does it criticize you? Does it tell you stories of strength or stories of weakness? You cannot change a habit you do not know you have. The second tool is questioning. Do not automatically believe every thought that pops into your head. Your thoughts are not facts. Challenge the negative ones. Ask yourself, is this thought really true? Is there a more positive and realistic way to see this situation? The third tool is replacement. Actively choose to replace the negative, unhelpful thoughts with positive, empowering ones. This is not about lying to yourself. It's about choosing a more useful perspective. Instead of, I can't, try, I'll try. Instead of, this is a problem, try, this is a challenge. This simple change in your self-talk can dramatically change your feelings and your actions. The fourth tool is breaking it down. If a goal seems too big and overwhelming, like a mountain, break it down into the smallest possible steps, like a staircase. Don't focus on the top of the mountain. Focus only on the very next step in front of you. What is the one small thing you can do right now? Celebrating these small wins builds momentum and confidence. The fifth tool is reframing failure. Stop seeing failure as an endpoint. Start seeing it as valuable feedback, as information, as part of the learning process. Every mistake is a lesson that brings you closer to your goal. The most successful people in the world are often the ones who have failed the most. They just didn't let failure stop them. The sixth tool is visualization. Use the power of your imagination to create a detailed mental picture of your success. Rehearse your victory in your mind before it happens. This trains your brain for success and makes you feel more confident and prepared when the real situation arrives. And finally, the seventh and perhaps most important tool is action. You can have the most positive mindset in the world, but nothing changes without action. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is taking action despite the fear. You have to be willing to take that first step, even if your legs are shaking. These tools are not complicated. They are simple, but they are not always easy. They require practice. They require patience. They require self-compassion. Training your mind is a skill, just like learning a musical instrument or learning a new language. You wouldn't expect to play the guitar perfectly after one lesson. You wouldn't expect to be fluent in English after 1 week. In the same way, you must be patient with yourself as you learn to train your mind. There will be days when the old habits come back. There will be days when the negative voice is loud. That's okay. That's part of the process. The goal is not perfection. The goal is progress. Just like Samuel and Clara, you have a choice in every moment. You can choose to listen to the voice of doubt, or you can choose to become the architect of your mind. You can choose to stay at the bottom of the mountain, or you can choose to take the first small step up the staircase. The power to win in any situation is already inside you. It's in your ability to choose your thoughts, to direct your focus, and to take courageous action, one step at a time. Thank you so much for joining me today on English in Fluency. I hope the stories of Samuel and Clara have inspired you. I hope you feel more equipped to face your own mountains, whatever they may be. Remember that learning English is also a mountain for many people. Use these tools on your language learning journey. When you feel overwhelmed, break it down. When you make a mistake, see it as feedback. When you feel nervous about speaking, visualize a successful conversation. And most importantly, keep taking small, consistent actions every single day. If this episode has been helpful for you, please consider sharing it with a friend who might also need to hear it. And I would love to hear from you. In the comments section, please share one small step you are going to take this week to train your mind or to improve your English. Sharing your goal is a powerful way to commit to it. Don't forget to subscribe to English in Fluency so you don't miss our next episode. Until then, my name is Alex. Keep climbing your staircase, one step at a time. You have the strength to win.